Okay guys, so I got my air compressor and I filled up the bladder here with about 40 pounds of pressure just to get it to pop out. Then I drained it out with a punch. This one. Just something to poke that little Schrader valve in there and drain it out. And before we put this shaft in, I almost forgot too. We need to put the spring retaining lock nuts on. And there's these two of them, and this one has to go like this. It doesn't go like that, but we do have to get this one on first because it goes this one, then the other one, then your spring, then the whole assembly. And the way I like to do this is, you can see that there's a flat sharp side and there's a smooth rounded side. And what I do is I put the rounded side like this, so when it's locking on against this, it's locking on against the other rounded side, doesn't scuff anything up too bad. So this slides right over, the rounded side up, and then we start to get that threaded, and spin that all the way till it can't go anymore. And just keep going. Till it stops. You take the other one, put it on like this, same thing. Slide it right on down, and keep going and going and going. Until it stops on the other one. And this takes a little while. There you go. Now that that's done, we can put our whole shaft assembly and everything in here. So about that much oil, you see, because you'll see why. We can add a little bit more once the whole shaft's in. But what I'm going to do is, I already lubed up the shaft and everything generously in this bushing right here that I'm pointing to. And you're just going to take it and just slide it in and just wiggle and push. And with, since it's nice and lubed up, it's going to go right in. Let's bring the head seal and everything up here so we could see what's going on. And you're going to push and wiggle gently down, and you're going to see it's going to start to come out of this hole right there. And you want to be careful with that hole in the future. I'll tell you why, but you're going to want to push really slow so this doesn't overflow anywhere. Now it's starting to come up, and it's going to bubble, as you can see in the back right corner. You're going to keep pushing, and it's going to just keep bubbling, and you're, bleeding the air out of this shock shaft. So you're going to push down, and then you're going to wiggle it up. And as you do this, sorry, this is kind of shaky, but filming one-handed here. You don't want to let those holes get near the surface of the shock fluid. You can see right there. So that's where adding some more shock fluid comes into play. You just add a little bit more up to where that retaining clip would be. And it's just slowly going up. You can't tell, but I can. Trying to just... There's not a lot in here, so trying to tip it upside down, doesn't want to pour very fast. But it's going. And then, keep doing that till you don't see any more air come out. So push it down. You're going to see a couple bubbles. Push it all the way down to where the head seal almost wants to go in, like that. Then pull it up again. And I'm going to put you guys down for a minute so I can do this. Make sure all the air is bleeding out of my shock. And I'm going to try and get a little bit more fluid in there. So bear with me, because you don't really want any air in this really at all. So Just trying to get the most out of this that I can. Get all the way up there. If obviously, you know, if you have a fuller bottle, you're not going to have to be trying to pour this like I am, but I'm going to do it by the capful now because it's a lot easier. It goes a little bit faster. And you know, this is just enough shock fluid, so I'm happy, you know, just enough. And it's a really important, can't stress it enough, that you really have to make sure that there's no air or anything when you're pulling this up. And then once you're done bleeding it, you want to keep the holes kind of level with where the retaining clip is. The little holes right there, and the retaining clip, you can kind of see where it goes. Then you're going to slide the head seal down and get that in, and some oil is probably going to squirt out. Let me put you guys down. You'll be able to see it running down the side of the shock right here. So just kind of push and getting any? Yeah, it wants to. To help assemble this, you know, every once in a while, just drain some air out of your bladder when you're putting this together, and it's going to help a lot with trying to get the head seal and everything in. But I'm going to push this shaft down a little bit to try and help. I'm going to find that good spot where I can get it in. And then slide the head down in, the head seal down in. Just twist and push. Now we're at the part where it's getting hard because of that little gasket there. So we're going to take the cap and this hammer. It'd be better if you have a rubber mallet type deal, but you know, whatever. And you're just going to tap around the sides and drive this in. And you can see getting some oil dripping down, some resistance. So I'm going to drain some air out of the bladder and keep going. Get a few more hits, drain some more air. You're going to hear a little tiny hiss every once in a while, and draining the air out of the bladder really does help. Now the head seals has been driven in pretty much as far as you can go with this little cap, so I'm going to get a punch and use that to do the job. Drain our air out and get the punch and just kind of punch it in like you would do to get the actual clip out, but we're pushing this down so I can get the clip in. Oil squirting everywhere, I don't know if you can see that. Drain some more out. And the camera's going to jiggle because you're up on my shock spring right now, high up on the table, so I would expect that. And you're going to fall. Put you guys back up. So yeah, just kind of driving this in. And, you know, take your time. No need to rush things. And the more oil you have in here, like mine is giving me a real hard time because I put a lot of oil in it, and that's good. You want it to be pushing the oil out and around, you know. You don't want to have too little oil. But this camera's just going to keep falling. This is going on a long video. Once you get that in, because I'm just going to cut this short and do this myself, but once you cut that in, or push this in, you're going to get your other retaining clip, like the one we put in here. You're going to get the other one of that and slip it inside there, and then with your hammer just bang this cap right down, and then that's where I'm going to be in the next video when we're going to get our spring and everything put back on. You're going to want to clean this brake cleaner and get all the oil off, and I'll meet you back when I'm done doing that. So See you guys in the next video.